Paris, thank you. Comic book creators appear to be making efforts to be more inclusive. Earlier this week, DC Comics announced Jon Kent, the Superman of Earth and son of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, is bisexual. In the November 9th issue of Superman, son of Kal-El, Jon Kent strikes up a friendship and eventual romance with reporter Jay Nakamura. Now, some have applauded the move, while others worry it could just be a short-lived publicity stunt. Joining us now with more are Anna Peppard, an author and researcher who's explored race, gender, and sexuality in comic books. Justin Hall, a comic book creator and chair of the graduate comics program at the California College of the Arts. And Robert Elder, chief digital officer for the Chicago-based Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists and the author of Hemingway in Comics, as well as a number of other books. Welcome all of you to Chicago Tonight. Welcome back, Rob. So let's start with you, please. Rob Elder, what is your reaction to the announcement? Is this a big deal?
It's a big deal. I was just talking with my 13-year-old daughter about this. It's perhaps a little long overdue. Queer superheroes aren't new anymore. But it is interesting that we're getting sort of that representation in a major DC Comics series involving their flagship character, Superman, and that's newsworthy. I think that is a big deal.
Anna Peppard, are you worried that this is just potentially a publicity stunt to sell comics?
I think it's always worth worrying about that when we have what we think of as like a legacy superhero, so one of the big name superheroes being replaced with what we call a quote-unquote more diverse character. And by more diverse, we just mean not a cisgendered, straight, white, male superhero. Time and time again, that kind of happens, that one of these characters gets replaced with a more diverse character, and it tends to revert back when the company decides they want to, for nostalgia and marketing reasons, go back to that classic version of the character. So there's reason to be suspicious about it, and I know a lot of fans are nervous about that.
Justin Hall, to that end, you're a comic book creator and an academic. What does it say if it is, maybe just the second or third sort of generation of the character, or even maybe a sidekick character in a more mainstream comic, that is the character who quote unquote comes out to be, bisexual or a member of the LGBTQ community?
Well, it's certainly not surprising that they wouldn't use Clark Kent himself, the kind of primary person a character who has the Superman name to be a queer representative. But I think it's so important that a character named Superman has a queer identity. But I would also say that it's important for us to also acknowledge that openly bisexual creators have been creating bisexual characters in comics for many, many decades. You have people like Roberta Gregory and Lee Mars creating queer underground comics with bisexual characters from the early 1970s onwards. So this is really important. I think a moment of kind of cultural gravitas with a character like Superman. But let's also remember that the pioneers of this sort of material and representation have been around for a long time.
Rob, what can you tell us about Jon Kent? He is actually, as we've discussed, Superman's son. And what can you tell us about this upcoming November 9th issue?
So I haven't seen it yet, but the character himself is relatively new. He's been around since about 2015, and he's a typical teen in a lot of ways. But if your dad was Superman, it might be sort of a tough act to live up to. So he's struggling with that and kind of deciding what kind of Superman he's going to be. Okay.
Justin, you've created several comics. Tell us a little bit more. You've kind of touched on it already about the world of queer comics.
They've been around for quite a while. I mean, you can look back at the underground comics movement, and even before that, the gag strips that appeared in the early queer publications coming out of Stonewall, and even before. So queer comics have been around for a while. They've been, since the late middle '60s. I would say is really a starting point. And they were initially really by and for queer communities, so created by creators who identified as such, and it was really a conversation within queer communities. So it's interesting to see them, queer characters and representation, finally coming out to the mainstream. For a long time, the mainstream of superhero comics completely eschewed all queer characters and themes, so the only people making this sort of work were underground creators. So it does represent a social and cultural shift when we have mainstream characters and creators working on this kind of material.
And Anna Peppard, in the past, have you observed comic book culture to be less than inclusive?
Yes, that would be a fair euphemism for comic book culture in the past. I mean, you can think about the stereotype of the Simpsons comic book guy, right? There's a little bit of truth to a stereotype like that. I mean, in terms of how slow superhero comics have been to sort of adapt the diversity of our world, that's very much true. And comic book culture has been slow to adapt to the diversity of our world in a lot of ways as well. I mean, Justin's absolutely right that queer comics have existed as long as comics has existed, as long as queer people have existed, basically. And yet, we had something called the Comics Code that prohibited a lot of mainstream publishers, so those not being sold sort of in the underground context, from depicting what was then coded as perverse sexual relationships, by which they meant any LGBTQ relationships. That wasn't changed until 1989, and you didn't have the first gay superhero until a couple of years after that in North Star at Marvel Comics. And it's been very, very slow going since then to sort of diversify these universes. So there's a reason why this news is a big deal. It's a big deal because it's Superman, because it's their flagship character. And to be honest, representation being what it is in the superhero genre, it's getting better, but representation being what it is, it's always a big deal when we have another character who is representing that diversity of our world that should be represented in all types of media.
And Anna, sticking with you for a second, former Superman actor Dean Cain, he played Superman on the small screen in the 90s. He's called this move, quote, jumping on the bandwagon. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I don't know how it's jumping on the bandwagon to, as I said, represent the diversity of our world in a world that hasn't represented that diversity very well throughout its history. So bisexual people have always been here. They're not a trend. They're not going away. So I don't really see how that's bandwagon jumping.
Rob Elder, what's your reaction to that?
I can't say it any better than that. And, you know, Dean has sort of become far right since his, you know, time in the Cape. So I think those views are part of that.
And
it's a good bandwagon to jump on.
and Justin Hall, you know, do you hope or do you expect that comic book, you know, the superhero culture, that it will continue to reflect the society that we live in?
Absolutely. I mean, representation matters. It's extremely important. And, you know, I would say that the job of superhero comics is to entertain. It's not really, it doesn't need to do the work of someone like an Alison Bechdel and Fun Home, or, you know, which really kind of dives into queer identities and issues in a more analytical or, you know, kind of complex way. But we need representation that especially young people are going to be able to look at and see themselves mirrored back in the media that they consume. So this is, we can only hope that this is a trend that will continue, and that this bandwagon will, you know, keep on growing, because it's a good thing to have representation.
All right, it's a good place to leave it as well. My thanks to Anna Pepard, Justin Hall, and Robert Elder for joining us.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
Thank you.